Yep, Sharon, send Kelbeck. Okay, trigger all your effects. Trigger all the effects here. Get Sulik, mill 5. Wait a minute. They're gonna think we're on EXOSISTER. They're gonna think we're on EXOSISTER. They're not gonna go for Dragostapelia. I bet you they go for Rukalos. Yep, because they think I'm on EXOSISTER and they want to stop the special summon. So for the matches that I played today, I actually went second in all 3 of them, which is kind of crazy. I don't understand how this game really can't just like go back and forth. It's either you go second a whole bunch or you go first a couple times before you start going second. I don't know. Either way, we're going to start off with a bricked hand, hoping that the Pot of Prosperity can unbrick us. Unfortunately, it does not because we needed either an Advent or a Robina. We do get an Eaglin, but that doesn't do anything for our hand right now, so we opt to take map, hoping that since we put 5 cards back to the bottom, we can Extravagance, well, draw for turn and Extravagance into something, assuming that we survive the opponent's turn, and we did. So they're on Tearlaments. Thankfully, their normal summon Merly was their only play, hoping that it would hit, and it doesn't. It hits a Beast, but nothing else off Beast. No Sharon discard, Ishizu discard, to special summon, Kelbeck, Yugioh, Mill, etc. So they just end with Merly, set 2 pass. Without a doubt, they have like hand traps or some stuff in hand that should be playable. But we don't need to use our Book of Moon, so we are able to preserve that. Starting off, we're going to, of course, do the Extravagance. We drew Dark Ruler for turn. The Extravagance does indeed unbrick us with the Toucan in the street, thanks to us taking map on turn 1. We do Duster, which I added to the deck and I explained kind of why in the deck list video. But against Tearlaments, it's not that great because they're going to be able to trigger Sulik and search for that Havness, which is now going to interrupt me when I normal summon and can't chain block, which I won't be able to do off of the Robina that I'm about to send, because Stree will get chain blocked by the Robina, but then when the Robina is summoned, nothing will chain block it. So they will get the Havness off, hopefully no Ash Blossom, but we can hopefully deal with the Havness here. Let's see. This is actually crazy. So off Stree, I'm like, let me banish the Sulik, so that if they mill a Heartbeat, which they do play, sometimes I've seen Tearlaments players play more than one, they don't get the Sulik back. Of course, off the Havness fusion, or Havness summon, they hit 2 fusion names, Merly and Sharon, and the Grief. And the Grief graveyard effect never comes up. Obviously against me it would though. So if this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can target one of your banished Tearlaments traps and add it to your hand. So of course I just banished one of their Tearlaments traps. So literally what I was trying to prevent, the exact opposite happened. Because if I would have left the Sulik in the graveyard, the Grief wouldn't trigger. But now because I banished it, hoping to prevent them milling the Heartbeat and getting it back, they get the Sulik back anyways. And when in fact they wouldn't have got it back if I did not banish it. But people don't normally play Grief, people do play Heartbeat, so it was the right decision. It's just really unfortunate the way it played out. So the opponent kind of realizes that there's no point in really going for Kalos. It does get them a search, but it doesn't really do anything else for them. So they opt to just go in Mud Dragon and Dragostapelia. Doing Kikalos and Dragostapelia would have done the same thing. Kikalos would not have got its search because the chain is still resolving before any new chain links can start. But they opt for a form of interruption instead of opting for additional follow-up, which, Floowandereeze doesn't really OTK anymore without the double M pin. So the opponent was probably better going for the Kikalos and maybe like a Mud Dragon instead of trying to go for the one of Disruption, because their follow-up turn could be really, really strong, I'm guessing. But because they go for this, they're still kind of on their bricked hand, so to speak. I don't know what interruptions they might have, like Maxi, Bestials, whatever, which again are all useless against us, which is why I like Floowandereeze. So we know they have the Sulik, but we're going to set up double birds, which cannot be super polyed away because they're different attributes and the same type. So Mud Dragon and Garua don't work for it. And I think the opponent was like, yeah, they must have like super poly. No, they would have set super poly, right? They must have had like Bestials and stuff in hand that they just couldn't use. So once they see us set up 2 birds, they're like, that's enough for me to scoop it up because it's too hard to play through. Plus trap card, plus map, right? So understandable. GG's to the opponent. All right, in this matchup here, we are going second in our opening hand once again with the Duster, but triple paw cards, which is quite interesting. The opponent reveals that they are on Tearlament, and they do mill into a Rhino, which is a free dump. Okay, they're going to dump the Heartbeat, which is actually good for us, no utility off of that. They dump Merly, use 2 Merlys here to fuse into Kikalos, and yeah, this is just Tearlament stuff, right? So they can't bring Merly to hand, they can't bring Rhino Heart to hand either because they've used both effects. So they bring Sharon, and I'm like, please don't have an Ishizu card or an Ishizu Miller, and sure enough, they have the Kelbeck. So off the Sharon mill, they get a Scream, which is going to get them a search of a trap card, and they grab Sulik, and then they are going to mill 5. This is super crazy what happens here. So they're mill 5. Okay, Crime doesn't do anything. Shadow Beast, they're going to draw 1, so they're going to be up to 4 cards in hand. They get a fusion name and Havness that they can make, I guess, Root Kalos, but I think you'd want to keep the Kit Kalos for the Sulik during my turn, right? That seems to be the play. They've already used Rhino Heart. Okay, look what we milled. Dimension Shifter, Dark Ruler, Double Book, and Dimension Shifter. So this actually does not give away that I'm on Floowandereeze. They might think I'm on EXOSISTER here. So, you know, the opponent off this fusion, if they knew we were on Floowandereeze, probably goes for Dragostapelia here. But they opt to go for Root Kalos, returning their Kit Kalos. And I'm like, okay, that's actually really good for me because they definitely think I'm on EXOSISTER. So we draw another pot card for turn. We're going to actually start with the extract because at this point, I'm like, I'm digging 5 deep. I care more about the card advantage right now because if one of these 2 remaining cards is Ash, which I think one could be, then I'm in trouble, right? So we draw 2, we draw the Robina and the Dark Ruler, which is a dead card in this matchup more or less. And the duality does reveal the evenly matched. So we got the Dark Ruler evenly combo. We attempt to go battle phase here. The opponent activates Heartbeat to shuffle back their own Sulik, most likely that they set, and then they discard a Emerald. So interesting. We still go battle phase because we want to out the opponent's 2 monsters. We do that. They're left with their Root Kalos. Now we're going to go ahead and normal summon and just hope the opponent doesn't have Ash. Okay, they have a Havness, which could be bad for us. Let's see what happens here. Okay, they mill a Mudora and a Rainbow Bridge, and we knew they played this because when they discarded this card for the Heartbeat, right? But this introduces an interesting situation because Root Kalos is dead against us. They need to put this card back in their deck in order to banish this to search for Field Spell. And Field Spell is a very powerful card. It gets them a resource, right? A name that they can summon, and basically a free fusion if they search Rhino Heart. But then they waste their Mudora, and Mudora has a lot of utility against Floowandereeze because it interrupts our Stree, it shuffles back our Trap, it shuffles back the Empin, preventing us from banishing it. So it's really, really good against us. Has a lot of interruptions. But if they top deck nothing, they're going to have to use this to shuffle back their own Crystal Beast in order to banish the Rainbow Bridge. So we play a very basic play here. We go into a Trap card, searching it off of Empin, set Book of Moon and Trap card. Sure enough, the opponent does Mudora, putting back Crime, the Crystal Beast, and a Heartbeat, which, you know, they activated Heartbeat as one of their set cards last turn when we evenly matched, and they also discarded one. So this guy's playing multiple Heartbeats. So nonetheless, yeah, they're going to get the Crystal Beast card and the Field Spell. So they just went from 1 cards to basically 4. They get the Rhino Heart summon. We're letting all this go through. The fusion is going to trigger off a Kaleido, and I'm like, that's totally fine. The opponent brings it out in attack mode. I guess they didn't care about the spin back. They care more about the damage, and then Field Spell pops the Emp in here, right? So they go into Vert, and at this point I'm like, okay, I don't know if you're playing like branded cards or whatever, but I'm not letting you set that up. So I have to go into the Dreaming Town here. And again, as long as this isn't an Ash, we're okay because this Robina is not going to be chain blocked by anything. Thankfully, we are able to resolve it. And we go for the Ryza. The Ryza is going to spin back the Vert, as well as put the Call By, which is a dead card against us, on top of their deck. So their next draw next turn is going to be that Call By the Grave. And this is how we basically lock down our opponent here. Get the Vert off field so they get no utility. They set 1 card, and I'm like, okay, if it's a Tearlaments card, like a Sulik or something, which I know the odds they would draw the 1 of again is pretty slim, I think, or a Crime, but it's not live because they have no face-up Tearlaments, they have no monster in hand. Meta Noise again, none of the Tearlament traps are live actually. So yeah, Sulik, you know, it doesn't really do anything. You can't send the Kaleido. But if we destroy it with Duster, they're going to get a search, right? Same with Meta Noise. If we destroy Meta Noise, they're going to bring back a Tearlaments Rhino Heart, in this case from the graveyard. So we still go for it, and the opponent has another Call By, and I'm like, that is game, because I am going to get full extension, full combo, and you're going to draw a Call By the Grave next turn. I'm going to out your 2 monsters by battle, and then I'm just going to lock you down with the Ryza. So at this point, the game is over. Don't know why I bothered to activate all these spells, but I guess I'm just playing through the combo. Reveal Stree. Yeah, it's just like Stree's going to banish Empin. We're going to get double summons off, and the opponent kind of realizes, okay, yeah, like I'm not going to sit through this. I'm going to surrender. And that was how evenly matched once again, putting in work against Tearlaments, won us that game, forcing their outs and banishing most of their board. So to wrap this video up, we did indeed hit Diamond 3. We did take a loss along the way. I just scooped turn 1 versus this Bestial Thunder Dragon combo Chaos deck. You know, it's got the Punk cards. They went into Chaos Rule. They go into Zombie Vampire. They set up a huge board. And I do have a match, actually, this one, where I, again, went second, as usual. And I was able to play through their negate board. First of all, they didn't set up a huge negate board, but I had Dark Ruler versus this one where I did not. And I also did not have like any pot cards or anything. So instead of just like waiting out a 10-minute combo and just hoping that I'd draw Dark Ruler for turn, because I didn't have any other way to get it, I was like, yeah, let me just surrender. So that's why you see one turn there. And the scoop, this is the match you just watched, and I'll post this one in another video. This one was kind of interesting, but hopefully you enjoyed this video, guys. If there's anything else you want to see, let me know. I really do appreciate the comments on the previous video that I posted. So I got some good ideas that I'll try to be implementing soon. But yeah, if you made it this far in the video, thank you again. Quantum is out.